What do Falcons do? Rise up. Welcome to RiseUpReactions, the show where we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning, lifelong sports fan, and just coming at you with another prediction video. Here we are going into week 16, 139, 83, and 2 on the season. I had a video made for this, so if you saw that already, I apologize. Really not sure what happened to the audio, but it completely cut out after about the first 30 seconds. I didn't know it because the video was normal up until that point, so I assumed it was fine. But we're giving this another try here, but again, we're going to go through this week. I'm going to go through a little bit faster than I normally would have. Because the last video was going to be about 18 minutes long. But let's start off with Thursday Night Football here. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars coming off a big week, beating the Dallas Cowboys, playing the New York Jets. Now, Jacksonville is going to New York. We do have this massive cold front coming in. But that said, Jacksonville is playing very good football, particularly on offense right now. And the defense is making stands when it needs to. I did have Jacksonville winning this game outright, and I still do. The Jets, it depends for me. Not Geno Smith. Zach Wilson, if he's the quarterback, I definitely think they don't win. Their defense will keep them in this game all the way to the end. But if it's Mike White, maybe I changed my mind a little bit. But I'm still, because I initially said it, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Jaguars over the Jets here. But this will be a very close game. It should be a good football game for Thursday night. Then we move into the Christmas Eve games. Most of the games will be played on Christmas Eve, and only 3 on Christmas Day, and then 1 Monday night game. But let's just jump right in. We have Buffalo Bills at Chicago Bears. You have an 11-3 team versus a 3-11 team. They're both used to the cold. The Bills are playing great football right now. I don't know what else to say. The Bears are not playing good on defense. They have an okay offense, so keep them in a game. But I don't think that's going to be enough. Give me the Bills here. Easy enough. Moving on, we have the New Orleans Saints coming off of a close game, in the end of it anyway, to the Falcons. Going to the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland got a win over a banged-up Baltimore. That was not a particularly fun game to see last week on Saturday. I was very thankful that I was involved in a wedding at that point in time, or at least attending, so I didn't even have to watch that mess. But anyways, New Orleans Saints, they probably should be playing with Taysom Hill as their quarterback right now. Andy Dalton just doesn't have it. They were lucky to get 21 points on the Falcons the way they were playing from the second quarter on. Their defense is still fine, but the Cleveland Browns overall at home should be a better team, even with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. He's starting to wake up a little bit, and I do look for him to take some steps forward before the end of the season. But, go ahead and give me Cleveland here. I think it's close, but I'll take the Browns. I don't know what the spread is on this, but if it's anything more than 3 or 4 points, I would be genuinely surprised. Moving on, we have the Houston Texans at the Tennessee Titans. Houston playing pretty good football, being down Dameon Pierce, and in general not looking great most of the season. Going to the Tennessee Titans, who are on a losing streak. I believe at one point in time they were 7-2, and now they're 7-7. Tennessee is free-falling, and I don't know any other way to say it than that, then they're just not good right now. So with that in mind, and Houston knowing how bad they are, they're still playing for the number 1 pick. Even if they won a game or two, they would still have the number 1 pick. But with that in mind, I do think Tennessee is a better football team. It's at Tennessee. It'll be a cold one, but I think that Tennessee will ultimately pull it out. I think it'll be a very close game. It wouldn't surprise me if Houston got their second win here. Then we move on to Seattle at Kansas City. Seattle, they're down Tyler Lockett. We'll see what they do with their run game. Ken Walker should be healthy and ready to go. Kansas City is firing on all cylinders. This was not a game that I had them losing. I actually don't have them or Buffalo losing the rest of the way, so I'm just going to go ahead and make this easy. Kansas City Chiefs, I do have Geno Smith in some fantasy leagues this week because of the injury to Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's going to play, and we'll talk about that one in just a minute. But moving on, we have the New York Giants, the Minnesota Vikings. New York coming away, what to me was a surprise. They got a win last week against the Commies. I did have the Commies beating them and going to the playoffs. I have to reverse that position now and say that the New York Giants are going to go to the playoffs as the 7th seed for the wild card. Minnesota clinched their division, and they clinched playoffs. I do believe that they will end up being the 2nd seed overall. And with that in mind, there's a decent chance that they end up playing possibly the Lions as the wild card team, as we're going to talk about in just a minute. But Vikings came back from a huge deficit, overcame the greatest comeback in history. Kirk Cousins is playing out of his mind right now. It doesn't matter prime time, no time, anytime. He's doing really well. The only thing that seems to be his kryptonite is those Monday night games, and they're just playing incredible football right now. They found a way to adjust at halftime on defense. Give me the Minnesota Vikings over the Giants here. I didn't have them winning this one anyway, so I do have the Giants winning one more game the rest of the season, though, to make it into the playoffs, but it ain't this week. Then we're going to go to the Cincinnati Bengals and New England Patriots. New England coming off of the worst play I think I've seen since Indianapolis's fourth down, move the entire line over to the opposite side of the field, wherever the hell that was, where Pat McAfee was on the field as well. Yeah, that was terrible. But this was pretty bad as well. Jacoby Myers doing a backwards lateral to Mac Jones, but it was directly to a defender instead, taken back to the house for the Raiders to win the game. Just absolutely nuts on that one. I can't believe that actually happened. But again, New England is not a terrible team, but the Cincinnati Bengals are better overall. They're healthy right now, and I think they're a playoff team. They're winning their division now, and I don't think this is going to be one that they lose either. Give me the Bengals here. Moving on, Detroit Lions at Carolina Panthers. Detroit surging, being down, I think they were 1-6 at one point, now 7-7. They have done really well. They almost beat the Bills, which would have put them at 8-6 right now. I do think they're a playoff team. I think they end up winning out the rest of their games and going 10-7. Give me them over the Carolina Panthers, who are still not a great football team, but just not playing bad football either. I don't think they win this one. I think the Lions are going to take it, and I think it's not really going to be that close. So give me the Detroit Lions here. Then you have Atlanta Falcons at the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to put an asterisk by this game. I'm picking the Falcons. I think we're going to win this game so long as Lamar Jackson is not starting. If Lamar Jackson starts this game, I think we lose. Desmond Ridder, he didn't look great in his debut, but I do think that this is one that we could win if things go our way. I think we need to be running the ball a lot in this game, particularly given how cold it's going to be in the New England-Baltimore area. Baltimore, they're probably going to run a ton too. This should be a fairly quick game with not much passing. I don't think we need to come out with the same game plan we did for the Saints. I think we need to stick with what was working in the second half of that game. And again, put up 231 yards on the Saints. I think we can definitely put up 170 to 180 yards on Baltimore if we run block as well as we have been. Passing, maybe it'll open up, but it's just going to be really hard in that cold of an environment. And I know a lot of people say Ridder played in Cincinnati, he's used to the cold. Yeah, he is used to the cold. He stopped freaking playing regular season football, though, at the tail end of November. We're now a month later, colder, with the cold, probably the coldest winter many of us have seen in December, coming through out of Siberia here with a ton of cold air making its way down through the Midwest and East Coast here. So it's going to be a really hard environment for him, but I am going to pick the Falcons with that asterisk. If Lamar Jackson is playing, I pick them. Then you have the Washington Commies at the San Francisco 49ers. Commies, I'm sorry, you blew your chance. You needed to beat the Giants. You didn't do it. There was some ref ball involved with it. I'll give it to you, but it doesn't matter. San Francisco playing really well with Brock Purdy. They're firing on all cylinders. I don't know what the injury was to Debo. I really haven't looked into it that much yet, but if they get Debo back for the playoffs, then they're going to be a really freaking hard team to beat. Give me the San Francisco 49ers at home over the Commies pretty easily. Then we move to the Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, if Jalen Hurts was healthy, completely healthy, I would say this is the Eagles to lose. With Jalen Hurts being hurt and knowing that they have clinched a playoff spot and they do not need this game in order to go forward, they do probably need it to stay in a solid first place. They actually have a two-game window here where they can play with. I would not play Jalen Hurts this week. There's just not a real reason to. You have Gardner Minshew. He's a fine quarterback. He's probably not going to win this game, so I do think Dallas is going to be a better team overall. But give me Dallas here. I don't love it. I still think it could go either way because I think the Philadelphia Eagles are overall a solid team. But Dallas at home with no Jalen Hurts, most likely, I think they win this game. Then we go on to the Las Vegas Raiders at Pittsburgh Steelers for Saturday Night Football. I don't have a good reason for this. Both teams are not really good. I'm going to pick the Raiders just because I think the Steelers are a little bit less good. Their defense is better, but I think the Raiders' offense is better, and I think offense is going to win out in the long run here. Give me the Raiders over the Steelers. It will be very close though. Then we have Christmas Day football. Green Bay Packers at Miami Dolphins. This is a game I think a lot of us would have circled as a great one earlier in the year. Green Bay did come off of a win against a pretty bad Rams team. I'm going to pick the Miami Dolphins here, though. Their offense is just too good. They're going to be at home. I don't have a good reason for Green Bay to win this game. If Aaron Rodgers returns to form, certainly this will be much closer than I'm anticipating. The Miami Dolphins is not particularly great, and the Green Bay Packers also are not particularly great. I think they're going to give up a ton of yards on the ground. I think they're going to give up a fair amount through the air as well to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Just give me the Dolphins. They have a better weapon set overall. Then we have Saturday afternoon football, Christmas Day afternoon. We have Denver Broncos at Los Angeles Rams. This is going to be a snooze fest for most of us because this one has like no implications for playoffs. The only thing it has implications for, you have two teams that are both playing for draft positions for other teams. That's all you got. Polish a turd, it's still a turd. Denver Broncos, though, I do think win this game. Los Angeles Rams just are more depleted overall as a team, and I think Russell is finally starting to get something going with the team there in Denver, even though it's a little bit too little too late. I think there's some hope. Brandon Perna, I do think there's hope for your team in the future. I just am not sure that it's going to be this season. But yeah, give me the Denver Broncos here. Then we move to Christmas Day night football. We have Tampa Bay at the Cardinals. Tampa Bay gave up a big loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, being 17 points up and then turning around and basically going scoreless for the rest of the game. I know they got a late touchdown, but it didn't matter. Arizona is a bad football team right now. Cliff Kingsbury deserves to be fired after this season. I think Tampa Bay wins this one pretty easily overall, even though it's in Glendale, Arizona. So give me the Bucks. Then we're going to go on to the LA Chargers at the Indianapolis Colts. Chargers playing pretty good football overall right now. They are still an iffy team overall, but no one is more iffy than the Colts. They cannot play a solid game of football. I really thought that they were going to pull that one out against the Vikings when they were up 33-0. And guess what? Complete and total collapse. Not to mention Jonathan Taylor is out for the rest of the season with I think a high ankle sprain, but the return on that, I mean, he's not going on IR, but it doesn't matter because the return on that is going to be after the playoffs start, and you sure as hell ain't making the playoffs, Indy. Give me the Chargers. They are a playoff team. Give me them. I think they are going to win this game. I think it's going to be pretty easy overall. Probably more than a touchdown if I had to guess. But, guys, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. How have you been doing this season? Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. We only have a few weeks left of the regular season, and then we're on to playoffs. But, guys, thanks for watching. And, as always, rise up.